Hey, what is going on YouTube? It's your boy Tylord, and I am finally back with more Let's Play World of Warcraft, The Burning Crusade. This is episode 12, and I am here inside of the Deadmines, located in Westfall. I know it's been a while since my last episode, and I apologize for that, but I came down with a horrible cold, and you might be able to hear it in my voice a little bit, but you know what they say, the show must go on. I'm getting a little bit better. And before I get into this episode, I wanted to give y'all a quick rundown of the group that I ran through this dungeon with. You can see here there are 4 Draenei and 1 Night Elf, 2 Paladins, 1 was a tank and I was DPS myself, 1 Priest, that was the healer, and then 2 Hunters that rounded off the rest of the DPS. And unfortunately I didn't get any drops off any of the bosses, and I actually didn't even have the quest, the Defias Brotherhood, to collect Edwin Van Cleef's head, so we will have to run through the Deadmines at least one more time, and hopefully we can get some drops the next time. With all that being said, hope you guys enjoy. The Deadmines are expansive, winding tunnels dug out under Westfall and part of northwestern Stranglethorn Vale. It is the lowest level Alliance instance and is populated by members of the Defias Brotherhood. Its entrance can be accessed in the town of Moonbrook in southwestern Westfall, while its exit is located in the western part of the Dagger Hills, near the ocean. The Deadmines is the center of the Defias operation, led by the ambitious Edwin Van Cleef, who is constructing a juggernaut at the bottom of the mines with the aid of the goblins. Many quests occur in and around the Deadmines. Prior to the First War, the Deadmines were the greatest gold production center in human lands. However, they were abandoned during the First War. During that time, Sir Anduin Lothar ventured into the perilous Deadmines on a quest to obtain the Tome of Divinity, but was captured by a band of ogres and held captive for 20 months. He was ultimately rescued and successful in his mission. It was also to the dungeons below the Deadmines to which Blackhand's daughter Griselda fled with the ogre Turok. Both were slain by an orcish raid. The first boss you will encounter in the Deadmines is Rhahk'Zor, a level 19 elite ogre. Rhahk'Zor is the foreman in charge of Edwin Van Cleef's construction projects. As in Warcraft, the Deadmines were invaded by ogres and were slaughtered by Blackhand's army. Rhahk'Zor could be a survivor of the massacre perpetrated by the orcs in order to punish them for plotting with Griselda. However, this event happened during the First War, and Rhahk'Zor belonging to this band of ogres is pure speculation. Rhahk'Zor provides a fairly straightforward fight and has the most health out of all bosses except for Edwin Van Cleef, who his health is roughly tied with. The only trick to this fight is the pull. Just wait until he walks farther away from the 2 Defias mobs and then pull. Of course, with any decent group, these mobs don't present any sort of difficulty, and so can be pulled with the big ogre. Rhahk'Zor cannot be slowed by mage's frost spells. The only ability of note is Rhahk'Zor's Slam, which inflicts 64 to 86 damage to an enemy, stunning it for 3 seconds. Rhahk'Zor can drop either the Rock Slicer, a 2-handed axe with plus 7 agility, or Rhahk'Zor's Hammer, a 2-handed mace with plus 11 stamina. Located in the mast room, where goblin carvers are working on a mast for the dreadnought, is Snead and his shredder. Snead's shredder is a giant lumber mill on legs. Sitting on top of the shredder is Snead, who tries to chop everyone into planks of wood. Make sure you kill as many mobs as possible before attempting to take on Snead, as he will occasionally use Terrify, causing your character to run in a random direction away from him. This could lead you straight into a mass of goblins if you haven't killed them yet, in which case the group will probably be wiped. After you defeat the Shredder, Snead will jump out and continue the fight on his own legs. He is still very dangerous in this form. Do not attempt to loot the Shredder or move on until you are sure Snead himself is dead. Most forget that Snead is ejected from the cockpit. Also be aware that if the tank does not know that Snead will jump out and starts looting the Shredder, it will be very difficult to prevent a wipe, since Snead moves fast, attacks fast, and hits pretty hard. He is capable of taking down casters in mere seconds. Snead's Shredder has 3 abilities. The aforementioned Terrify terrifies an enemy, causing it to flee in fear for 4 seconds. Only one target can be terrified at a time. Distracting Pain, which reduces an enemy's casting speed by 35% for 15 seconds, and finally Eject Snead, when the Shredder reaches 0% health. Snead himself only has one ability of note, Disarm, which disarms an enemy, forcing it to stop wielding its weapon for 5 seconds. Both Snead's Shredder and Snead have a chance to drop one of two blue items. First, a Buzzer Blade, a one-handed dagger which increases your critical strike rating by 5, and Buzzsaw, a one-handed sword with +4 agility and +3 strength. Both have a chance to drop off of Snead's Shredder. Off of Snead the Lumbermaster, he has the ability to drop gold-flecked gloves, cloth hand pieces that increase your intellect by 6 and increase damage and healing done by magical spells and effects by up to 7. Or the Taskmaster Axe, a two-handed axe with +8 spirit and +8 stamina. You will then enter the Goblin Foundry, where the goblins are busy creating anchors and cannonballs for the Defias Dreadnought. The Goblin Craftsman can be found there, along with the Goblin Engineer that can summon a remote-controlled golem, which will fight alongside them. Gilnid is the boss here. He comes with 3 ads. Killing him opens the door to the next area. Gilnid is a level 20 elite goblin who is the head smelter for Edwin Van Cleef. In the crafting of technological automatons, Gilnid may have no equal. Amoral beyond the ability of the goblins to stomach, Gilnid was cast out of Booty Bay when his insane experiments ran amok in the city's marketplace. Gilnid has no interest in politics and plays no part in the Brotherhood's decision-making, but the Brotherhood funds his experiments and keeps him supplied with parts. Van Cleef has enormous, perhaps too much, respect for his mad talents. Getting through the forge to Gilnid is harder than the actual fight with him. Most of the mobs around him can be pulled separately, usually leaving only one near him. The fight is fairly straightforward. The only ability of note is Molten Metal, which inflicts fire damage every 3 seconds to an enemy, increasing the time between its attacks by 54% and its movement by 50% for 15 seconds. Gilnid has a chance to drop either the Smelting Pants, leather leg armor with +8 stamina and +7 spirit, or the Lavishly Jeweled Ring, a finger piece with +6 intellect and improves your spell hit rating by 2. Eventually you will come to an alcove which contains Defias gunpowder. This should be looted as it is required to open the door to the docks. A rogue can also attempt to pick the lock on the door. If the party elects to blast open the door, you will alert Mr. Smite, the Tauren first mate, who will send Defias pirates to see what the disturbance was. If you pick the lock instead, you will not alert them. The next boss you will encounter is Mr. Smite, a level 20 elite Tauren. Mr. Smite is the first mate under Captain Greenskinned. Due to his dark coloring and personality, it has been suggested that he may be a Grim Totem, like Hapana, another Grim Totem who turned to piracy. Smite is accompanied by 2 rather tough stealth bodyguards that should be polymorphed by a mage if possible. You should generally deal with them first while occupying Smite with the tank. Once he is damaged enough, Smite will war stomp your party and run back to a chest for a stronger weapon. The chest cannot be opened, and is just background art for Smite to draw his weapons from. The war stomp will last 7 seconds and will occur twice during the fight, at 66% and 33% health. After the first stomp, Smite switches to dual reavers, and after the second stomp he switches to his hammer. He still takes damage from dots during the stuns, and it is possible to kill him during them in that manner. One handy trick against this boss is to have the fastest party member pull Smite back to the end of the dock, and then have the main tank keep him busy while the rest of the group burns off his guards. When he uses his stomp ability, he will have to run all the way back to the chest to retrieve his weapons. If his guards are down, this will give the group time to heal up before he returns. If you have enough dots stacked on him during this time, it is possible for him to die during the trip, or he can even perform another war stomp on the return trip, refreshing the stun on the group as he runs back to grab his hammer. Other than Smite Stomp, Mr. Smite has 2 other abilities, Smite Slam, which inflicts 50 damage to an enemy, stunning it for 3 seconds, and Thrash, giving him 2 extra attacks. Mr. Smite can drop one of 3 items, all weapons and all very sought after. The first being Thief's Blade, a one-handed sword with +7 agility. The next, Smite's Reaver, a one-handed axe with +2 strength, +3 stamina, and +2 hit rating. And finally, but certainly not least, is Smite's Mighty Hammer, a two-handed mace with +11 strength and +4 agility. The boss atop the ship is none other than the ship's captain, Captain Greenskinned, a level 20 elite goblin in the employ of Edwin Van Cleef. Greenskinned paces up and down the deck of his ship, and it's difficult, but not impossible, to pull him without also attracting his minions. Take caution on the trash pulls just prior to Greenskinned. It is very easy to accidentally pull Greenskinned as well. When fighting against him and his minions, sap and polymorph adds and focus on Greenskinned. Tanks should also keep Greenskinned away from casters because of his cleave, which inflicts 110% of normal melee damage to an enemy and its nearest ally. Greenskinned also has the ability Poisoned Harpoon, inflicting normal damage +30 to an enemy, then an additional 45 nature damage every 10 seconds for 1 minute. Greenskinned has 3 possible pieces of loot drop off of him after the encounter. First, the Blackened Defias belt, a leather waist piece with +18 attack power, which is part of the Defias leather set. Next, he can drop the Impaling Harpoon, a two-handed polearm with +12 agility, or finally, the Emberstone Staff, a two-handed staff with +5 spirit, +5 stamina, and +8 intellect. Edwin Van Cleef is one of the greatest human engineers in history, the unquestioned leader of the Defias Brotherhood, and one of the most important criminals that threatens the kingdom of Stormwind. From aboard his ship located deep within the Deadmines, Van Cleef awaited the moment at which he would strike at his hated foe. Before this could take place, however, adventurers of the Alliance, having previously learned of the headquarters of the Defias Brotherhood, entered the Deadmines and assaulted Van Cleef's ship. Van Cleef initially has 2 level 19 to 20 Defias Blackguards. When Van Cleef's health drops below 50%, 2 additional level 19 to 20 Blackguards will spawn. Some people say that ignoring the ads and just attacking Van Cleef is the best tactic to kill him. After killing VC, move on to the other mobs, one at a time. Other than the ability Van Cleef's Allies, which summons a pair of Defias Blackguards to assist him, Van Cleef also knows Thrash, giving him 2 extra attacks. Van Cleef will drop one of 4 items. First, the Blackened Defias armor, a leather chest piece with +11 stamina, +3 agility, and +4 strength, which is also part of the Defias leather set. Next, the Cruel Barb, a one-handed sword with +12 attack power. The Corsair's Overshirt, a cloth chest piece with +11 spirit and +5 stamina. Or the Cape of the Brotherhood, a back piece with +6 agility and +3 stamina. He also has a 100% chance of dropping his head of Van Cleef for the quest The Defias Brotherhood, and also an Unsent Letter, a bind on pickup item which begins a quest. Everyone in the group can loot this. Cookie is a level 20 elite Murloc in the service of Captain Greenskinned and Edwin Van Cleef. He is a Murloc and the only optional boss in the Deadmines. Beware, if Cookie is left with little health, he will run away and may pull additional enemies. How he became a cook in Van Cleef and Greenskinned's service is unknown. When fighting against the ship's cook, just focus on him and dispel the Acid Splash debuff when he casts it, which inflicts nature damage to nearby enemies every 5 seconds for 30 seconds. If you go around the ship, go left after the Mr. Smite fight instead of right, it is actually possible to clear the area of mobs as well as Cookie before fighting the last 2 bosses. Cookie's patrol route will take him close to a pile of debris that players cannot get through, but mobs and some pets can. Hunter and Warlock's pets have been known to accidentally pull the pirates on the other side of the wall. Other than Acid Splash, Cookie also knows Cookie's Cooking, which heals the caster, in this case Cookie, for 111 to 129 health. Cookie's loot is highly sought after by those looking to create twink characters And for fans of small pets, for the Siamese cat carrier. Cookie either drops Cookie's Stirring Rod, a ranged wand, or Cookie's Tenderizer, a one-handed mace with +6 strength. And as always, I hope y'all stay classy and peace out.